You are not here by accident, and in the next few minutes I am going to prove it. If over the last 3 days you have felt a nameless restlessness, if you woke up in the middle of the night with a thought that repeats itself without explanation, if you noticed that certain conversations, certain messages, and certain small events began to pile up as if they were pointing towards something bigger, then your body already knows what your mind is still trying to understand. This is not a coincidence. This is the field moving before the event. And the event has a name, it has a date, and it is coming. The 7-7 portal. The first great opening of July, the turning point that will separate those who are ready from those who will continue to sleep within their own lives. Let me be direct with you, because I don't have time to beat around the bush, and neither do you. Humanity, when faced with this kind of energetic window, always divides into 2 groups. The first group, which is the majority, will feel this pressure rising over the coming days, and will do exactly what they have always done. They will blame exhaustion, they will blame work, they will blame the commute, their partner, the weather, anything that isn't the actual truth, which is that there is an internal tension calling for movement. This group will feel the intensity and try to drown it out with distractions, with infinite scrolling, with another Netflix series, with another glass of wine, with anything that muffles the signal. And for this group, the window will close exactly as it has closed so many other times, without them even realizing it had opened. The second group is smaller. It is the minority that still possesses, even if rusty, even if forgotten, an internal structure capable of recognizing when something real is happening. If you have made it this far, if you didn't look away in the first few seconds, it's because a part of you still remembers how to do this. You belong to this second group, and it is for this group that this content was built. Now understand one thing with total clarity, because this is where most videos about portals get it dead wrong. A portal is not a decorative astronomical event. It's not a pretty date to post on your Instagram story. It's not a magical energy that will descend from the sky and fix your life while you sit around waiting. No portal has ever done that for anyone. A portal is, in practice, the moment when the cost of remaining stuck in your current life finally becomes greater than the fear of taking the next step. It is pure emotional mathematics. For months, sometimes years, the fear of change outweighs the discomfort of staying. You endure, you adapt, you rationalize, you say, it's not time yet. But there are certain periods of the year when this balance shifts abruptly, and the weight of standing still becomes unbearable even before you have a plan ready. You take the step, and only then does the ground appear beneath your feet. Never before. It is terrifying, it is uncomfortable, and that is exactly how every real transformation has always begun, since the beginning of time. The first week of July is precisely this period of the balance reversing. It functions as an antechamber, a preparation for the 7th, when the 7-7 portal will actually open. Think of it as the pressure that builds before a storm. The air gets heavier, the silence changes texture, animals grow restless before a single cloud appears in the sky. This is what is happening inside you right now, only instead of atmospheric pressure, it is spiritual pressure. The pressure of revelation, the pressure of truth accumulating behind a door that hasn't opened yet. And the most important guidance you will receive today, the one that separates those who cross this portal cleanly from those who get hurt in the process, is this. Do not react to the first impulse. Emotional pressure is not, in itself, a true direction. It is just pressure. The true direction appears afterward when the pressure has passed and what remains still makes sense. In the days leading up to the 7th, prepare for things to start breaking from the inside out. I'm not talking about random chaos. I'm talking about old patterns that no longer have support and will crack on their own, with or without your permission. A message you didn't expect might arrive. A conversation you've been avoiding might finally happen, initiated by someone else, as if the universe had decided it's time. A truth you already knew but kept locked in a sealed drawer inside your chest might simply surface without warning, in the middle of lunch, in the middle of a call, in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday silence. This isn't the portal missing the mark. This is exactly the portal doing its job, forcing into the light that which you can no longer pretend you don't see. The goal is not to create confusion for the sake of confusion. The goal is simple and surgical, to reveal what can no longer continue to be ignored. If you are someone who is already in motion, who has already made an important decision in recent months, who has started a career change, a separation, a financial or emotional reconstruction, prepare yourself, because all of this is going to accelerate. What was taking months to resolve might be resolved in days. An answer you've been waiting weeks for might arrive suddenly. A door that seemed locked might simply unlock. But if you are someone who is stagnant, who knows exactly what needs to change but keeps procrastinating, this portal also has a message for you, though it comes in a different format. The first crack. It's not the whole earthquake at once. It's the first visible fissure in a routine that should have been abandoned long ago. A discomfort that became too large to ignore. A bad day that is actually the body screaming what the mind refuses to hear. And here is the most elegant mechanism of this portal. It doesn't deliver the same thing to everyone. It delivers exactly the opposite of your excess. Those who live stuck, full of fear of acting, will feel a push of structure, of practical clarity, of it's now or never knocking at the door. Those who live trying to control every detail, every result, every reaction from others, will feel the opposite invitation, to let go. They will feel that holding on so tight is costing more than it is protecting. If you recognize this pattern in yourself right now, if you feel that this description hit home in a way that wasn't a coincidence, write the word "ready" in the comments below. You don't need to explain. You don't need to tell your whole story publicly. You just need to register with that one word, that you recognize this window has already begun to open within you. This simple gesture is more powerful than it seems. To comment is to declare. It is saying, with a single word, that you will no longer pretend you aren't feeling it. Now, an important warning, because many people confuse a blessing with a burden, and that destroys real opportunities. When this type of portal opens, it is common for opportunities, clarity, and invitations to arrive along with a sense of weight, of responsibility, of "this is too big for me right now." This doesn't mean the opportunity is false. It means it is real and is testing whether you have the structure to sustain it. Think of it like this. If someone without any preparation suddenly gained an enormous responsibility, they would crumble under its weight in a few weeks. The universe, or life, or whatever you prefer to call this higher intelligence, doesn't usually deliver resources without also delivering the demand for maturity that accompanies them. So, if in the coming days a door opens and, along with it, comes a feeling of "this is going to require a lot from me," don't automatically retreat thinking it's a blockage. Ask first, is this too much weight, or is it just the real size of my next phase asking me to grow into it? And here is exactly the point where most people get hurt during this kind of window. They confuse emotional intensity with definitive truth. The energy of this pre-portal week is strong. It's electric. It's the kind that makes you want to send that text you should have sent months ago, end that relationship once and for all, quit your job in the heat of the moment, expose an old grievance the first second it surfaces. Stop. Breathe. The energy of this period should be used to speak a truth that has already matured within you, not to explode, not to attack, not to seek attention disguised as courage. There is a huge difference, and it is the line that separates healing from damage. A reaction seeks immediate relief. It wants the pain to stop now at any cost, even if the cost is burning a bridge you still needed. A decision, on the other hand, still makes sense after the emotion passes. If you feel the impulse to do something today, ask yourself, will I still want this the day after tomorrow when the adrenaline drops? If the answer is yes, move forward. If the answer is uncertain, wait. The portal won't run away from you because of 24 hours of patience. It was precisely with this kind of decision in mind that I want to make you a direct invitation. If you are feeling that this is one of those weeks where everything seems to move at once, this is exactly the time not to walk alone trying to decipher every isolated signal. I have pinned a simple guide in the comments that I prepared to accompany this July transition step by step, so you don't have to interpret what you are feeling alone and end up making a decision in the heat of emotion. If this makes sense to you, comment the word July and go to the pinned comment now before you continue watching. It's not about haste for haste's sake. It's about not letting this window pass without the right map in hand. We arrived then at July 7th itself, the core of this portal, the moment when everything that moved in the previous days stops being just a sensation and starts becoming a consequence. Think of the previous days as the accumulation of tension in a compressed spring. The 7th is the release. It is the day when the intensity that had been growing transforms, almost mechanically, into responsibility, into clarity, into a decision that needs to be made with eyes wide open. And it is also the day when reality applies its own filter over everything you've been feeling, hoping or imagining in recent weeks. Feelings that were inflated by too much hope will shrink to their actual size. Expectations that only stood because you fed them with idealization will need to prove if they have real ground beneath them. This is not a day of punishment. It is a day of honesty. It is the universe saying, "Show me what really exists here, without decoration, without fantasy, without the edited version you've been telling yourself for the last few weeks." This means that perhaps something you were sustaining only on the basis of hope will show on this day its true structure, or lack thereof. A relationship you were justifying might reveal its true size. A project you were pushing with sheer willpower might show whether it truly has a foundation, or if it was standing only because you wouldn't stop holding it up. This might hurt, yes, but it is a surgical pain, not a cruel one. It is the kind of pain that cuts away what was already dead to make room for what can truly be born. And if, on the contrary, something you doubted about yourself proves to be solid on this day, stronger than you expected, that is also the filter doing its work, separating what is real from what was just fear disguised as doubt. If you feel on the 7th or shortly after that something inside you has changed categories, that a doubt became a certainty, or that a hollow hope finally dissolved, write the word "revealed" below. This comment is not just an interaction. It is an energetic record of the exact moment you crossed the filter and saw clearly what was hidden behind the emotional fog of the last few days. After the peak of the 7th passes, the quietest and honestly, the most important stage of this entire process begins: post-revelation discernment. It is easy to be wise in the middle of adrenaline when everything seems grand and obvious. The true test is what remains 3, 4, 5 days later, when the intensity drops and life returns to its common rhythm. Observe during this period what continues to make sense when you are no longer under the effect of raw emotion. Does that decision that seemed urgent in the heat of revelation still feel right on an ordinary Monday, drinking coffee with no dramatic music in the background? Does that clarity you had still illuminate the path when the dust settles, or did it only glow because it was surrounded by intensity? This is true discernment, not what feels good at the peak, but what remains standing in the silence afterward. It is exactly here, in this final stretch between the revelation of the 7th and the integration of the following days, that most people waste all the work they've done up to this point. They feel the clarity, they feel the turn, but they go back to their routine without any structure to sustain what they discovered. And in 2 weeks, they are exactly where they were before, just a little more tired. Therefore, if you made it this far and felt that this portal is truly speaking to you, this is the time to act with a plan in hand, not just a feeling in your chest. The material I pinned in the comments exists exactly for this, to transform what you felt in these days into concrete steps, so you don't let this clarity evaporate as it almost always does after the intensity passes. Go to the pinned comment. It is the only way to ensure you don't lose this momentum. The proposal for closing out July after all this is simple to say and hard to practice. Abandon the illusions that the filter of the 7th has already exposed, recognize with honesty what truly deserves your energy from here on out, and act with calmness, not with euphoria or fear, in the face of the new direction that is beginning to take shape. July doesn't end on the 7th. It only begins there. What comes after, the next windows, the next fine-tunings of this same timeline, is part of a larger map that continues to reveal itself, video after video on this channel. If you aren't subscribed, you will only receive loose pieces of this map, without the context that connects one moment to the next, and you'll end up piecing together conflicting signals without understanding the full picture. Subscribe now, Hit the notification bell and leave the word Ready, July or Revealed in the comments, depending on which stage you are living through right now. This week is not about waiting for a miracle to fall from the sky. It is about recognizing that the ground is already shifting beneath your feet and deciding, with your eyes open, where you will take your next step.